welcome back to MCS TV. I'm Taylor Seal. I teach 3rd grade social studies at Sally Humble Elementary, and today we'll be talking about geography. So geography is a science that focuses on the Earth's surface. The people who study geography are called geographers. These geographers look at 2 different types of geography. The first type is physical geography. They observe, measure, and describe the Earth's surface. So they're looking at landforms and the way that the land affects the Earth and all of those things. Human geography focuses on where people live, what they do, and how they use the Earth's land. So that's like looking at why people move to certain places, how they form cities, and this is a good example right here. So when you're moving, you are always traveling somewhere. I know you ride bikes with your friends, you go to the mall with your mom, you might even ride a bus or a car to school. But you might not know that when you use words like left, right, up, down, you are actually talking about the direction in which you're moving. In order for us to understand geography, we need to know about these special words called direction. So there are cardinal directions. There are 4: north, south, east, and west. Each of these kind of refers to these special words like left, right, up, down. So in my class, we had a hard time remembering how to say north, south, east, and west. And so we remembered this really cool saying, never eat soggy waffles. So we know how to label our compass rose. That's what this is called right here. You will always see a compass rose on a map, so it tells you which direction. So on a compass rose, I said there's north, south, east, and west. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about what those mean. So north always points to the North Pole. That's the top of the Earth. South always points to the South Pole. That's the bottom of the Earth. East always points to the place where the sun rises in the morning, and west always points in the place where the sun sets in the evening. Now, besides the 4 cardinal directions, there are also 4 intermediate directions. Those are the directions between the 4 cardinal directions. Their name is actually a combination of the 2 cardinal directions that they're between. So you see north, south, east, and west. And I know you don't see the full word right here, but instead you see the abbreviation, which is sometimes what you see on a map. So if I have north and east, the intermediate direction between those 2 cardinal directions would be northeast. I have east and south, so I have southeast. I have south and west, which is southwest. And I have north and west, which is northwest. It gives us a little bit better idea of what direction something is. So guys, let's practice. I have a poem right here. It's called Geese on the Go. And every time you hear one of those direction words, I want you to hold your hand up, okay? Are you ready? Where do geese fly in the spring? The geese fly north when little birds sing. Why don't geese fly to the west? I'm not sure. What's your guess? Do the geese fly east in the fall? No, the geese don't do that at all. Where do geese fly when it snows? The geese head south when the cold wind blows. So I'm curious, how many times did you hold your hand up? Good job. You should have held it up 4 times, right? You should have held it up when you heard the word north. You should have held it up when you heard the word west, and when you heard the word east, and last, the word south. Good job. So guys, there are also these things called hemispheres, okay? And if you were holding a ball, okay, the world is shaped like a sphere, just like a ball on the playground. It's actually divided by these invisible lines that we call the prime meridian and the equator. The prime meridian goes up and down, the equator goes across. So in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, that's like if you took a ball and you sliced it in half. So you'd have a top half and a bottom half. Now the eastern and western hemisphere is like if you cut it down the middle. Good job. So you have the northern, the southern, the western, and the eastern hemisphere. Now guys, if you've seen a map before, I know you have, all of these little dark blobs, those are called continents. So you can actually see which continents are part of which hemisphere. So which hemisphere do you think that we live in? I'll tell you right now that there's 2. Let's look. Does anyone know the continent that we live on? North America, very good. So we live in the northern hemisphere, but we're also part of the western hemisphere. So those things that I just told you that are called continents, there are actually 7 of them. So we have North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica. That's a total of 7 continents, and these are just large land masses, and within those continents are certain countries. So our continent, like I said, is called North America. This includes Canada, the United States, and Mexico down here, and all of these other countries. So our country is called the United States, right? It's made up of all of these states right here. You might have seen a map like this in your classroom. Now our state is Louisiana. It's shaped like a boot, so it's really easy to spot on a map. It's somewhere near the bottom, and it borders this big body of water right here called the Gulf of Mexico. Now, if you've noticed, we've gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. We went continent, country, state, and now we're looking at Louisiana up close. So Louisiana has these things called parishes. And what's a parish? A parish are these little boundaries that separate certain territories. So a long, long time ago, when Louisiana was controlled by the French, they had churches draw lines of their territories, and they just kept them, which I think is really interesting. Louisiana has 64 parishes, but other states have these things called counties. So I know you've heard a lot, like what parish you live in. You might go to a parish school, but other states have counties. So I want to know, which parish do you live in? Do you live over here, over here? There's a lot of names on here. I can tell you right now that I live in Ouachita Parish, and you might too. Now guys, it's really important for us to be really good geographers. We need to be able to read a map. So maps show us places and information about those places. There are many different kinds of maps. Usually they show places from above, like if you were flying over like a bird, because they're flat. And there's always, well, I hope there's always a map key or a legend. That gives you some clues as to what you're looking at on your map. So this is our first type of map right here. This is called a political map. So a political map gives information about man-made features like cities, capitals, and boundaries. So if you look really close right here, there's this thing called a legend, okay? If you see, I have 4 different things on my legend. 1, 2, 3, 4. It says red line are international boundaries. So that would mean the boundaries that outline our country when it bumps up to another country. White lines are state boundaries. So you can see all of these different states have white lines around them. The red star is our country's capital, which is in Washington, D.C. It's way over here. And this black dot means it's a state capital. Do you know the state capital of Louisiana? Good job, it's Baton Rouge. So we also have physical maps, and physical maps show us what the land looks like. If you see right here, it doesn't say legend or key, but I know that a little box that gives me more information is my map key or my legend. It says that orange is deserts, light green is grasslands, dark green is tropical forests, this lighter green is woodlands, this kind of purpley gray color is tundra, and these things that go up like this are mountains. So if you look at our map, look at all the different land we have in the United States. We have mountains over here. This is what they would consider grasslands. This part right here is woodlands. And if you look at Louisiana, which is right here, remember the boot, it has the Mississippi River running along one of its borders. It actually is made up of 2 types of land. It has mostly grassland and woodlands. And if you look on this map really closely, it also shows us a scale, okay? That would be like if we were going to travel, you can use the scale to find out how far things are apart. And it also has your compass rose right here, but it only has cardinal directions. It doesn't show you those intermediate directions. The next type of map is a road map. A road map provides directions from traveling from one place to another. So look at all these red lines right here. And so, oh, there's some green ones too. So right here, okay, we have our scale down at the bottom. We also have our map key or our map legend. So green is toll roads. That means you have to pay to go across it. This little white little badge thing is a U.S. highway, and the blue one with the red on top is an interstate. So you can know if you were going to go on a trip, you would use a road map to help you figure it out. Now we also have a grid map, and you might have seen a grid map before in class, and I think they're super fun. So a grid map is made up of columns and rows. The columns have numbers, so that's the ones that go up and down. The rows have letters. Those are the ones that go side to side. So each square has a number and a letter. And when we write it down, we write the letter and then the number. So let's practice. If I was looking for New Orleans, I would take my finger and I would find New Orleans. There it is. So I'd find the row, E, and then I'd find the column, 4. Good job. Can anyone help me find Ruston? So take your finger, kind of look at the screen. Which row is Ruston on? A, good job. And what column is Ruston in? 2. So its location would be A2. Good job. Now guys, there's also specialty maps, and these specialty maps show just information about a region. So they could be about anything. So I have a natural resource map, I have a population map, and I have a precipitation map. So this one would show us what natural resources are abundant in Louisiana. This one would show us how dense our population is, how many people are living in one place. And this one shows the amount of precipitation. And look, these actually, they all have titles, and usually your map will have a title, and they all have map keys or legends. So guys, let's practice, okay? It says, use the compass rose in the map. Write a directional word in each sentence. So guys, I can't write on this, but I want you to do it along with me. So it says North America is blank of South America. So I'm going to start at South America, okay? So it's asking, North America is in which direction of South America? Is it east, west, south, north? It's north. Good job. Australia is blank of Africa. So I'm going to find Australia. Here we go. And Australia is blank of Africa. Okay, so I'm going to look at Africa, and which direction is Australia? Is it north of Africa, south of Africa, east of Africa? Good job. Antarctica is blank of Africa. Let's find Antarctica. So here we go. Here's Antarctica, and here is Africa. So it says, if we put our finger on Africa, is it north, west, east, or south of Africa? Antarctica is south of Africa. Good job. Now, guys, the last one is about an ocean. And we talked about the continents, but we didn't quite talk about the oceans. So this one might be a little bit tricky. It says the Arctic Ocean is blank of the Atlantic Ocean. So we have the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean. The Pacific Ocean's over here, the Indian Ocean. So I'm going to find the Atlantic Ocean, okay? And is the Arctic Ocean, is it south, east, west, or north? Good job. The Arctic Ocean is north of the Atlantic Ocean. Now guys, our last thing is we have another map right here. And I just wanted to look really closely at this map key. So on our map key, instead of the dot being a state capital, this map key tells us that the star is the state capital. Good job. The black dots are cities, the blue is water, and the little dotted black lines are state boundaries. So let's look really closely. So there's water all down here. It says that our capital is Baton Rouge. It shows us some really big cities in Louisiana. It also shows us something that's not on our map key that they could have put on there would be the rivers. Good job. Guys, I've had so much fun with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to MCS TV. Can't wait to see you again.